Hey guys, I'm giving you a great big bear hug today. Yes, we're working on some Valentines. Perfect for upcoming Valentine's Day. I'm doing a cute little bear. It's kind of based off the Christmas bear that I did, but only with the Valentines. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comment section. If you're a Patreon member, you can click on you can download the traceable that goes with it. If you're not, click on the little I button in the corner right hand top side of this video, and you will click the link for Patreon, or just click it in the description box. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comment section. Also, don't forget to hit the bell notification button to know my tutorials are up. So without further ado, let's get started. All right, my fabulous peeps, let's go over some supplies. I have a piece of Arches 100% cotton cold pressed paper. For demonstration purposes, I'm using a 6x9 inch piece, but you can use a typical card size, which would be 5x7. I have my palette, my paints, paper towel, water jars, paintbrushes. I go over everything as I use them. Everything is in the description box. I'll teach you how to draw this, but if you're a Patreon member, you can download the traceable. And I did the traceable in the 5x7 inch size, so you don't have to size it up and down. You just print it out just like that. This is based off the cute little Christmas bear that I did. So just to draw this, again, if you look at the Christmas bear tutorial, we're going to work on shapes, okay? So here's a little cute head. It's just going to be a circle, maybe more of like a long circle. See that? And then you do the ears, which are basically like half circles, right? And then little half circles in here. The little bird up top. I do the legs first so I can figure out where his spacing is going to go for his body. And basically it's like another circle with a little rectangle tail and a little curved wing, triangle beak, and it's going to be holding a heart. Now I think you guys can draw a heart. Now for the bear body, it gets a little tricky, right? You could do the heart first or the body first. I suggest start just sketching out lightly the body. So we're going to have this curved, say you could kind of make another circle like this going this way, a long circle, but you're going to cut out that part, right? Here's the body, and then the legs, curve it down, curve in, and you get the leg. So you can take a line down here, and just curve in, leg, right? And then for the face, again, we have this another circle. Well, I wouldn't call it a circle, a long shape, and then a long nose, and little bitty circle eyes, cute little mouth. Then we're working on the heart placement. So we're going to have the heart tilted, big old heart. Just put a big heart here, kind of covering the face, right? And then you're going to swoop the arms in. So this is this curve with the circle, just to get you the idea of the placement of the hand. Right? Circle and curve for the arm. And then you'll be erasing all these parts that connect. You erase the part that goes over the face and the arm, right? And then you have the body. And that's the basic shape. And then when you're painting it or drawing it, you can draw these little squiggle, wiggle lines for the fur. And then, of course, have hearts all coming out and around him. Get a movement. And you write the words, bear hug. But pretty much that's it. And so you just slow down the video if I'm going too fast for you. There's a little, I think there's a thing on the side that's, you can go in slow-mo. But that's pretty easy. Circles, a oblong shape, which is kind of like an oval. And you've got your bear. But if you're a Patreon member, you can just download the traceable. And let's get started on painting. So I've got my guy already sketched in here. Obviously it's a bear. We're going to be working with browns, creams and tans, and some reds, and maybe the bluebird will be blue. He's going to be blue. So I've got a few brushes. I'm going to use my Grumbacher 10 first. I'm going to make some browns. I got the Van Dyke brown working here. I need like a cream color, so I'm going to grab some of my cadmium yellow deep and grab the Van Dyke brown mixed together. It's kind of a yellow brown. Might touch a little tinge of the red here, the quinachradone magenta. I'm trying to get this nice cream color. And really kind of how you get the cream color is just really watered down color. So you're going to put a lot of water on it, and you get this pretty, like, yeah, it's a little more on the yellow side. I might want to add a little more, touch more of this magenta and more brown. A lot of water. I'm playing with the colors to see if I get the color that I like. Not quite there yet. You're going to keep playing around to get the color that you want. So it's kind of like a creamy, light brown. Okay, so I put some more water on my brush. See, I'm really getting that really loosely wet. But I dab it on my paper towel first, just to get all the excess off. And I'm going to take off all the excess pencil marks or graphite paper marks. I trace my traceable. I put graphite paper down, and then I put the design on top, and then I take a nice ballpoint pen, and then I draw on top of that, and I get that graphite mark. So here we go. I'm going to put the light, creamy, light beigey brown on the inner part of his face. It's just like the same tutorial that I did for Christmas, but only we're doing Valentine's. With a little twist. I mean, we're not going to show a sweater on him, and his feet are kind of different, and the background's different. So just throwing that color in, just a simple creamy beigey color. Meanwhile, we're going to mix up some browns. I got this, just the Van Dyke brown itself. Go up here, mix some brown, some Prussian blue, some magenta, more brown. I want to get this really deep dark brown. Or you could just cheat and grab a little black and throw it in there. I like to do that too. Why not cheat? Okay. You don't want to paint next to this guy yet because it's going to bleed. So we're going to paint around this section here. So I got the Van Dyke brown, real loose, and I've got that cream color. We can go in and start painting in his body. And I like the Grumbacher because it's a bigger brush. I'm just going to paint this really loose in here. Woohoo! Just filling in this body part. You can even go down and fill in the legs. And we're going to be adding in some darker tones with this brush. Just really loosely paint this in. Now your bear doesn't have to be brown. If you want to do like a gray bear, that's fine too. You could have this whole design be red, black and white, like black, white, like kind of gray tones, and then just the heart red. That could be really cute too. It doesn't have to be brown bear. If you want a white bear, you can paint the background red. So I did that brown. I'm going to add some deeper tones. Just going to kind of plop those in. See here, underneath here, just all around. Just trying to give it some more depth. I'm just going to see, I'm just tapping this in, just like this. It's going to bleed naturally because it's already damp. Tap, 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 tap. Simple little tapping. You can get even darker still. A little less paint. Just right in here. If that's too dark, you can just take some of that off. Just move it around. See how I'm taking that off and pushing it on my paper towel. I just didn't want it that dark so quickly. You can grab some of that beigey color too. Different color tones. It has a little more yellow in it. I'm going to kind of flush that in a little bit too. You like to have a variety of brown tones. It just gives it more interest than just a flat out brown color. Now I'm going to test this. See, feels dry. I can go back into the face now. And the face, we don't want to start off really dark again either. So I got that Van Dyke brown, really loose. I'm just going to flush in the face, wet on dry. You can kind of paint this guy pretty quickly if you wanted to. And sometimes when you're rushing to paint quickly with a big brush, you get this really nice loose design. But if you don't want that, you can just take your time, maybe use a number 8 long round brush. I'm kind of using the point of this, kind of making those little marks going outward to create that fur. So flushing in the color, as you see here. Still fairly light brown. Being careful around all the other elements. And now I'll take the tip and kind of push out some color. Zoom in so you can see a little better. Just the tip of this, whatever brush you have. This one's a little fat, so it's going to make these little kind of chunky feather marks. But that's okay. And I'm going to fill in the ear part too. Not the inside of the ear, just the outer ear. See, nice and loose. If you see the pencil marks, that's still kind of nice. You know, it doesn't have to be, you know, oh my God, there was someone who drew something first. It's just as nice. See, I like that loose look. I'm going to go back in right now and start adding in some darker tones. So I got that darker brown. I'm going to add some black in here. I like the black. You can add more red tones. I'm just kind of tapping it, as you see here. Gives a little more natural look, kind of a fuzzy look. And like I said, you could grab, like, here's the Princeton 8 long round. Take that paint. It's a little better point. And push out the paint on the edges just a little bit, not too much. So you get the fuzzy fur. See, I'm just going like this, back and forth, back and forth. You don't want a lot of it because then it's going to look goofy. I know it's a cute little bear, but you don't want him too goofy, do you? I mean, he's really not a realistic bear, but we're kind of like, we're doing a crossover. It kind of is and kind of isn't. See, taking the brush and just making little marks, fuzzy marks. It reminds me of that camp song, Fuzzy Fuzzy Was a Bear. Okay, I'm not going to sing that for you guys. Okay, so I'm going to put in some more of these darker tones. See, I'm just tapping this in around that inner part of his face. It's going to have some expression. Try not to get too dark on this part. I'm going to lift up some of that paint. It's getting a little too dark. I do tend to have like a darker tone to a one side kind of situation. It's just kind of how I like to do things. So I'm going to grab some paint and kind of like put some darker color right on that side. But you don't have to do that. It's kind of how I like to do things. You kind of figure out your shtick, as they would call it. Everyone has their shtick. That's how you could tell some artist designs from another artist design. So I grabbed that dark color and I went in here, kind of just pushing in that paint around here. Now it's dried a lot down here, so I'm gonna have to manipulate the paint. It's not gonna bleed like it is up there. How I can do that, I just painted some color in there, go with my brush, grab some water, and just kind of push it around right next to that paint. And go back in and grab some darker paint again. Because that heart will make a shadow on top of his body. I'm just going to grab some darker paint in here. See how I did that? And then down here a little bit. But I don't want them too dark. You could have them dark brown bare. You don't have to have them light. Again, with the tip of the brush, kind of just making those little fuzzy marks. See? Just little fuzzy feet. Sporadic fuzziness. You could even grab a really dark color like a black and kind of do that. Or not. The lighter color you can grab too. And just cut those little marks. See, I'm just moving the brush around. Wig-wag. Zigzag. And making those little fuzzy marks. So that's going to dry. We're going to work on the arms. I'm going to start off a little bit lighter. Try not to get into that heart. If you find that difficult, maybe some masking fluid would help. Now we're not going to do the little wiggle fur marks on this guy until the heart is painted, because it's going to go on top of the heart. Or you could paint around it, but it might be much easier if you didn't do that, if you waited. So I'm just flushing in the light color first, and then from here I can add in the deeper tones. Again, grabbing this Van Dyke brown, just kind of tapping. It's got a lot of water in here. The less water, the less bleed. And sometimes you don't want a super bleed either. You want it kind of darker up here, because here is going to be where his hands bent in. So we're just flushing in some darker tones, but then we're going to go back in and really get it darker in that section where he's bending his arm and hugging the heart. Meanwhile, back at the station, close zooms in. My lighting is getting a little screwed up. There we go. Well, this is kind of drying. You can still kind of put in some darker tones just up in here. Less water on that paint. See, I'm just kind of tapping it. And over here. Now you could put the little fuzzies on the outside now. Little fuzzies on the outside of his arm. And then kind of tap in this deep tone right next to the heart. See, kind of just deeper, darker right up here where his arm's kind of bending. Try not to get too dark. And I got a little light down here with this foot. I'm just going to go in and flush in a little bit of color. Looking kind of strange. Okay. The bird. You could make the bird red if you wanted to. I'm going to make it blue. I got my Prussian blue. I'm mixing it with a little of that brown I had up here, just to tone it down a bit. I could add some quinachradone magenta, say that 10 times fast, to make it more of an ultramarine blue, if you have an ultramarine blue, whatever blue you want. So I'm going to flush in this blue color with Mr. Bird. And again, we're going to do the little fuzzies on for him, because he doesn't have fur, but he has feathers. Just take it. And then he's got the tail, which you see in the sketch. And then the wing, and we'll have to go back in on the wing and make the wing a little bit darker in the tail area so it differentiates, so it doesn't look like some weird thing going on there. Okay, so then, this is kind of dry. You can go into the inner ear, get an even darker color. If you didn't want to make it darker, you could make it with pinky colors. I'm going to make it darker. Dark brown going in here. Almost like black. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how you do it. I'm just going to do it darker. See, I'm kind of wiggling that paint around. So again, it has that fur kind of look. And again, you can take the little tip of your brush and wiggle out some paint so it indicates fur. And this is really dried, kind of going to go in and add some more dark tones again. Just kind of flushing in some of that color. Just kind of wiggling that paint around. And then I take it off my brush and I put some water around it. I kind of wanted it darker on that side, like I said. It just has a nice look to it. You can put in your black nose. See, just put in the black color. You don't have to use this brush. You can use an even smaller one if you have more control with that. And his little cutie eyes. Just checking to see if it's damp. If it's damp, it's going to bleed. And we don't want that. Now, I used to design children's wear, and I did the graphics for it. When you have to make it look like a baby bear, the eyes would be much further apart. For an adult bear, you put the eyes closer. So this would look like a completely different bear if the eyes were much closer and smaller. And you can make bigger eyes for the babies. Just a little tidbit. For the cheeks, we're going to grab that quinachradone magenta. Get it really, really loosely wet. I might add a touch of yellow. You want pinky cheeks. I'm going to just tap it on my paper towel to get the excess paint off. And just put this nice, cute pink color circle for the little cheeks. Yes. And then we can go in and get that red heart. You just have if you have a red color, perfect. I make my red with the magenta and the yellow. Somehow I got some brown on there, so I'm going to take that color up. It's going to be muddy. I want a bright red. So I've got the magenta, grab that yellow again. Got a nice big bright red color. It could be pink too, it doesn't have to be red. So now I'm going to fill in this pretty heart with the red. It's giving the heart a bear hug. Another little trick, I didn't draw it, but if you wanted to, you could put a little white halo up here if you want the heart to be kind of three-dimensional looking. I just did that. Just gonna fill that all in. I didn't mix up enough, but I can manipulate it. So it's a little lighter here. I need some more paint. There we go. And play around if you want to add some deeper tones of the red, just like we did with the bear, underneath where the bear hands are, on the edges. You know, it's still damp. You can wait a couple minutes and do that. While you're doing that, you can just throw in some of the red hearts. Ooh, this brush is got a bad heart there. Not cooperating. I might have to switch my brush. Just gonna put those little hearts in really loosely. Really, the whole emphasis is on the bear, and you can throw in as many fallen fun hearts as you want, and then the heart up the beak. Just be careful not to get the beak part because that's going to be yellow. So I'm filling in all of this. Now, this is the wet on wet technique I talk about many times. Still damp here on the heart. You can grab a crimson, or you just take a magenta, get that red color again, and then a little Prussian blue. I want this really deep red. It's getting this deep, deep, deep red, a little darker. And you can kind of tap that color while it's still damp underneath. See, I'm just tapping in just a little bit. Zoom in so you can see. I just take the tip of my brush. I just tapped in just a teeny bit of paint right under where his hand is, because it's making a shadow. If you want to do a little more here, just on the edges. Don't go crazy. You know, the shadow, just a small little shadow is enough. if it starts to do the bloom where it's drying hard on the edge, clean off your brush with water, dab it on the paper towel a little bit, and then just kind of push the paint around. You know, because it's dried a little bit over here. So it's not working the same way as it is over here. You're just going to manipulate it. Same thing up here. The little birdie. Just tap the little dark paint right under the beak. That's about that. I'm going to go in and add some of my, make this nice deep red. Mixing up some more red. Kind of dry it a little bit lighter than I wanted. So you can have a variety of colored hearts. It doesn't have to be all red. It could be pink hearts. Gonna make this one just a little bit darker up here. Only because the beak, it's gonna highlight the beak a little more. Just kind of pushing that paint around. See, I'm going to go back right over the same color. You can do that trick too. If it didn't bleed, just go right back over, add another layer. So then, of course, it will be damp. And then you can do the bleeding color again. Right underneath. Okay. So now I'm going to use my small, tiny brush. This is the Princeton number 4 long round. Going to do the beak. Oh, too much. So I'm just going to dull down my cadmium yellow deep paint a little bit. And I'm going to paint. Well, actually, I'm not going to do that because it's still wet. I'm going to fix the bird. Sorry, guys. And I have to zoom this back out. I hope you caught that heart. God, I have to check my filming sometimes. So the bird, we're going to go and add some darker tones. Okay. Just going to get the little, with the little brush I have here, the Princeton. Zoom in for the bird. Just going to do the wing. See? A little darker. And then add some darker tones to the tail and the outer edge of the bird. Just kind of wiggling my brush as you see here. I'll clean off my brush and I'll take some water, just a little bit, and just kind of push the paint around on the edges. It dried fairly light. And grab some darker paint again for the wing. And under here, I want it just a little bit darker. And on the edges up here. So I'm hoping that the red will dry soon, and then we can go put the beak in. Meanwhile, back at the farm, I'm going to grab my black, and I'm just going to throw in the little legs. And then I'm going to do the little cute smile on the bear. If this dried too light, I can go back in and add another layer to get really dark. I just noticed this is still wet. Wow. Okay. And then you could take that darker brown and go in that crease. See, make a little line. And then just start wiggling some paint like this going outward for the fur. Still a little damp, but you can start to put little brown fur marks like we talked about, going outward on top of the heart. See, just kind of wiggling that paint. Doot, 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 doot. Get a little darker down in here. And then you can just water down some more of this vandyke brown and just kind of put a little darker shade. It looks a little too pale. Just adding a little darker shade. Not too dark, but just a little dark. Okay. I think the red by the beak should be dry now. And we're going to throw in that yellow. There's a little beak. Black for the eye. Right? And then around the bear, I'm going to grab some more. I'm just going to grab, just for the details, you just grab a little darker brown and making those little squiggle fur marks. Do a few more on around his face. It's just little details you kind of want to add at the end. Darker inside this ear again. But you're just doing those little wiggle fur marks. That we didn't do. We did some of it, but it kind of dry light, and then go back in and add some darker tones. Just playing around with that. The sorry guys. Did you even see that bird? Goodness gracious. I'm so sorry, I apologize. Basically, I added the black eye to the bird, and we just did some dark brown, black wiggles. You saw that. Added that in here in the crease. Just pushing some more brown paint around. Just a little bit darker here. Okay, he's looking kind of cute. And then the bird, you can just go in if you want to add little details, just a little bit darker under that wing and under the tail, just to highlight it. The bird has more dimension that way. Don't go too crazy. And for the outer part, like if you could be standing like in the middle of nowhere, he could have just like a slight gray color. I have a light gray color here. Really pale. Kind of like, just kind of flush it in. It could be bluish gray actually. Just like around here. So it's not standing like in the middle of the air. Just kind of go like that. You know? If you want to flush in a color around him, you can do that too, but just like that, like a little gray tonality. I'm gonna add a little bit more gray. Just kind of with the Grumbacher, just pushing this paint around a little bit. And then, you know, if you are not comfortable writing the word bear hug with paint, you can use a marker. You can also put a pattern in the heart. I have like gel pens you can write with that. I think I don't have it right with me right now. I gotta find my gel pens. They're like all over the place. All right, so I found my gel pen. I use the, I like the Uniball gel pens. And I'm just gonna play around with the scrap to see if it's working. There we go. So this is be easy. You can just paint it too if you don't have a gel pen. Bear hug. But it makes your life really easy if you have a gel pen. Mine's the red is a little damp, so it's tricky getting this gel pen to work. But you get the point, right? And then outside here where the hearts are, if you want to just do some squiggle pencil marks, like the hearts are floating, just like that. Oh, I realized I forgot one little heart up here. I neglected you. I'm so sorry. You can put as many hearts as you like. You know, that's that. And there we go. There's our first Valentine's of the season. I'm sure people are looking forward to getting something that's positive and happy. Not that Christmas wasn't, I'm just saying. I mean, I know Valentine's can be a commercial holiday, but maybe this year it's not going to feel that way because people really need some love. Having a hard time this year. So I hope you guys enjoyed this tutorial. Sorry, I'm kind of mumbling, and I hope that everything was seen in some of the videos. I hope I explained them pretty well. So that's it. If you have any questions, leave them in the comment section. don't forget, if you're a Patreon member, to download the Traceable. If you're not a Patreon member, hit the link on the show more in the description box. I also, in the beginning of the tutorial, put a little on the top right corner, hit the little I button. You can click on that link that way too. So take care, guys, and I will speak to you soon.